look up cocktails for a scotch. I got none of that. I got the scotch. I got nothing else. I was like, I'll just have scotch. Or I got beers, but it's fine.
There you go. Yeah. You know what? Technically, a scotch and ice is a cocktail because you're combining two ingredients. So.
Exactly. I was thinking that. I was like, I'll just add scotch and ice, and there we go.
There you go.
Cocktail.
Hey, there we are. All right, we are live. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 324, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
John.
Welcome to the show, everyone, and welcome to Mixology March, your once-week live show for the latest. I already said that. Good Lord, I am not ready for tonight's show. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night, or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are right on the air, so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel, but an even better way to help support the show would be to go on over to craftcomputing.store, pick yourself up a pint glass, one of our fantastic coasters. Hey, how did this one get on my desk?
Oh man.
And start drinking like a pro. We also have rocks glasses and whiskey stones and a whole bunch of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
Yeah.
Yes, and I just realized I forgot one of my glasses upstairs, so I'm gonna have to text my wife. There we go. All right, the producer is on it, hopefully. Anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome to Mixology March. I was telling John right before we started, this month makes everything so complicated, because like, especially for like this show prep, because I have to make multiple cocktails. I have like 7 bottles on my table right now, plus all of my tools, all of my all of my mixing stuff. I've got a knife, a spoon, a jigger, 2 different mixers, a giant mixing glass. Like, it is so complicated to get set up for this type of show. But I'm glad you're all here.
Yeah. No, this is when your content, now you got to do quick craft computing shorts of just making a cocktail.
Yes. Actually, that would be a fantastic idea. Thank you.
All right. But while we're waiting for Jeff, anyone drinking cocktails in the chat or a beer, let us know. We will give you a shout out in the chat.
Yeah, no, doing some shorts of some cocktail making, that might be kind of fun. Yeah, maybe I'll give that a whirl. We'll see how that works this month.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even it doesn't mean you have to like get in depth with it. You just, this is how you make a cocktail.
Right.
Quick. There you go.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Enjoy. Oh, there you go. Yeah,
enjoy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll do some cocktail shorts this month. That should be fun.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, it's going to be a good show. We've got nVidia banning emulation, Nintendo banning emulation, Oregon passing the strictest right to repair law in the nation yet, and I am super excited about this one. And I'm sure we've got some more. There's more stuff in there. There's always more stuff to talk about, but those are the heavy hitters. For right now, what are we drinking tonight?
So, like you explained, Mixology March, you're more cocktail. I like spirits, I like cocktails, but I don't have the time to prep or anything like that. So most of my cocktails are like 2 ingredients. But therefore, I had a beer that was still a cocktail-inspired beer. So I'm going to go with that. And it's been sitting in my fridge for a while. I don't know how good it is because it says it was bottled in 2018. And so that's Ballast Point's Moscow Mule Ale.
Oh.
And you can see by the label, it's kind of roughed up.
Yeah.
That's probably... This literally was middle shelf back left corner on the back of the wall.
That's a ways back there in your fridge.
Yeah. So, but it comes in at 10%.
Oh, very nice.
So a ginger lime ale at Imperial Ale.
Schilling, I believe, cider company. They recently put out a cider mule, and it's fantastic. It is a Moscow Mule inspired apple cider, and it's freaking delicious.
There's no floaties, and this glassware with the etching is just making this thing pop like crazy.
Yes. I love my glassware. It's so good. And I don't just say that because I want you to buy some. My glassware is unabashedly amazing.
That's actually better than I remember.
Nice.
I guess it's Untapped said I had this before and said there was only lime flavor. And now that's all ginger. So it's basically an Imperial ginger ale.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to piss off the purists, which is one thing I really love doing. So I recently picked up a bottle of one of my favorite scotches. I got some Highland Park 12. And I'm going to make a cocktail with it. Because you know what the best way to drink whiskey is? The way you like to drink it. So that's how I'm going to drink it. Because I like cocktails. Nothing wrong with whiskey neat, but I like cocktails. There's my trash. All right. So today we are making a single malt Scotch, Negroni, or Belvedere, depending on your preference for adding bitters or not. So to do that, I've got a giant mixing glass here, and I'm going to stir over one giant rock. Look at that beauty. So let's go ahead and start with the ingredients. There's a lot of different theories for the Negroni, for the Belvedere. A lot of people drink them 1-to-1, where they'll do 1 ounce of whiskey, 1 ounce of Campari, 1 ounce of vermouth. I like the whiskey to shine a little bit more, and so I edge it up. I take a 1/4 ounce out of each of the other elements, and I do 1.5 ounces of the whiskey. So we're going to do 3/4 ounce vermouth. Bring my vessel over here. Just martini and rosé, just standard vermouth. Nothing too crazy.
Dry.
Yep. It's neither sweet nor dry. It's a nice middle ground. I like this one. I tend to like dry vermouth over sweet vermouth anyway, even in drinks that call for sweet vermouth. We've got our actual Campari, not the knockoff stuff. You know, if I'm using scotch, might as well use the best. So we'll do 3/4 ounce of Campari. There we go. We're going to do a full 1.5 ounces of Highland Park 12 single malt scotch.
Fresh bottle.
Fresh bottle. This literally just opened. You saw me rip it open.
Oh, well, someone just paid for your scotch too.
Oh, there we go. Oh, Zach literally paid for the scotch. I literally paid $49.99 for this bottle of scotch. What's really funny is I was looking at the Highland Park Magnus, which is another one of my favorites, and that was like $40 or something like that. This was on sale from $65 down to $50, and I went, well, if I'm already going to buy the Magnus, I might as well go for the 12.
Just go without, yeah.
Right. So 1.5 ounces of that. This one might be a little controversial. I add just a bar spoon of simple syrup to my Negroni. Just a bar spoon. Not a lot. It cuts out some of the more bitter notes, especially from the vermouth. I'm not a huge vermouth fan anyway. So there's that. And then the difference between a Negroni and a Belvedere is if you add bitters. And we're going to make a Belvedere. So we're going to add 3 dashes of Angostura. There we go. We're going to give that a good mix. Good little twirl there. Zach, thank you so much, friend, for the $50 super chat. Gonna have to miss tonight's show. You'll have to check out the Talking Heads Discord channel to see why. Have a great show. Nice. Well, I will definitely check that out and see why. Hope everything is good. Hope it's all good news. I love good news. All right. We're going to pour this into the fanciest of glassware. So I've got a little Nicanora coupe.
I know where he's at. He's at Moda.
Oh, okay.
He's at the Blazer game.
Okay, very cool. Good. It is good news. So we're going to strain that into our coupe. Beautiful with the Campari coloring in there. I love that.
Ooh, look at that glass.
And then to finish us off, we're going to get a swath of orange. The word that I could not find in today's video that went live. A wedge? No. Slice? No. Crap. Just a nice swath, a little bit of pith on the back of it. I'm going to spritz that over by squeezing that. Rim the glass all the way around. And there you have a single malt Scotch Belvedere.
Mm.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, my God, all the yes. Holy crap. That's good. Wow. I usually make that with a rye. The Scotch hits on such a different level. Wow, that is good. Ah. Screw all the haters who say don't put Scotch in cocktails. Scotch belongs in cocktails, and that drink right there just proves it.
I'll have to make that.
Oh, that is good. This is such a perfect blend for this cocktail too. That's kind of why I picked it. The Highland Park is already a little bit orange and fruit forward. Man, that is just... There's so much to pick out there. It's both bright and dark all at the same time and just interweaves all. Oh, it's so good. Oh, I love that one. Let's see.
We got lots of drinks.
Lots of drinks in chat tonight. Starting with William, who chimed in right before the show started. He's planning on having Jeff's Gin Old Fashioned. Thank you, my friend. I love my gin old fashioned. It is you use a barrel finished gin, a little bit of lime, so good. Let's see. Nothing fancy tonight from Oft Infinity, just whiskey and Coke. That's a fantastic,
that's perfectly fine.
Fantastic cocktail. Let's see. Michael says away on work, so having a Gloria Margarita, 13.9%, or 2 or 3. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
Skull says, I'm away from my home bar, traveling for work, but just found a 2024 Parabola, so I feel like that's a fair substitute.
They just came out with those, so yes.
Oh, man. Parabola is my favorite series of beer.
I almost bought one. I was at John's Marketplace the other day, and I saw them. They just came out, and it's like, but they went up a couple bucks. It's like, I'm not here for this today because I needed a bunch of Irish beers for a video.
Yeah,
but other days like if this I would have dropped everything. Plus, I also bought another barley wine with a deal of the devil that day too. So I just think I spent enough on beer, which that one beer is a lot of money.
Deal with the Devil's $100 bottle for 12 ounces. Yes, if no one's aware of that beer.
Yes. So.
Cap and Tack chiming in with a Kraken and Coke Zero. I do love a good rum and Coke as well. Yep. If I go to a bar and I immediately don't trust that bar because of something they say or do, I go, screw it, rum and Coke. At least you're not going to screw that up.
Yep.
No, I love Kraken. I've been really digging Blackheart and Coke lately. Do the Blackheart 93 proof rum. That is a fantastic call. I
just got Bacardi's 8-year barrel aged rum. Actually, I made an old fashioned with that yesterday. It's actually pretty darn good.
Nice. So. What's really funny? I've made an old fashioned out of just about every spirit you can imagine, like every primary spirit. I've never gone for the barrel aged rums. So I mean, I've even done like the barrel finished, mezcals and tequilas in old fashions, and I've managed to make those work. I think I need to revisit my rum old fashioned.
Yeah, I know this one. It's about $25 for the bottle. It's reasonably priced. I think it's. Okay, so yeah, it's only 80 proof.
Okay,
so 8 years. But but it's got a heavy wood finish, so it makes it really nice it's medium sweet, and it's got a nice wood finish to it, woodiness to it. So it really helps with like old fashioned. Really plays to that.
Yeah.
So.
The more I drink this, the better it gets. I keep going back for some, and it's bringing out newer and newer flavors every time. Like that last flavor, I just got this wonderful mouthful of oak, like super rich red wine oak. Yeah, very meaty, very hearty. God, this is a good drink. John J. drinking an old-fashioned ale. Guinness-inspired old-fashioned ale. 3.9 out of 5 on Untapped.
I've seen that before.
Reverend sipping on a Rittenhouse Rye old-fashioned. Fantastic choice. Novella's got a Black Sack Brewing Pig's Fly Quintuple IPA. 14%. 14% IPA.
Yeah.
I salute you. Hey, Craft Computing, any updates on your dual node server? I have... Here's the thing. The funny thing with that video. If I don't get it working, you'll never know. Because I don't want to make another video where it's like, well, this thing still sucks. Although that'd probably be best for my analytics if I did, because that video's still getting clicks. But... usually when I post a video like that of some piece of enterprise hardware that I've bought and I go, this is just all kinds of effed up, I will usually get 2 or 3 engineers in the comments who go, I have that server, I know that server, I know a guy, I can get you files, I can do whatever. Nothing. Radio silence. There is no one who knows anything about these boxes. The best lead that I've got is one of the outlets that has some of these servers for sale reached out and said, hey, we have a bunch of these. The only way we've ever gotten them to work is with the CPUs they came with, which is the 7531P. Good luck. So I have a couple 7531Ps on the way. Luckily, they were dirt cheap. They were only $36 each or something like that. They'll be here later this week. Hopefully I can plug those in. The problem is that takes most of the value out of this box if I can only throw 16 core processors into it. I was hoping to at least go with a Rome processor, get off Naples, get much faster single threaded performance, get a 32 core or a 48 core in there and get some real compute density. If it's only going to be 16 core, it's no better than Haswell at that point. Honestly, it's not. So there's really no point to running it. Which sucks. All right. Cool. Lots of other drinks in the chat.
Yeah, they just keep coming.
Yeah, a lot of people doing Mixology March. Welcome, everyone. Unfortunately, I think it's time to move on. We've already been here 20 minutes. Cocktails take a while to make, and I have to talk about it while I'm doing it.
And they don't take that long to drink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's funny. That drink, no oak in it at all.
Really? That's because that scotch is a pretty...
It's a pretty oaky, smoky kind of scotch.
I wouldn't call it like the highest peated, but it's
right.
It's you notice it.
It's an Isla Scotch. It's it's got some heft to it. That smoke is way in the top of the flavor. It took all of the harshness out of the peat, and instead it's literally like It's like smelling a really good barbecue rub when it's on the grill. Like it took all the harshness out of the peat, and now you're just left with like these sweet, savory, smoky notes.
I'm reminding myself.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's nice. It's sweet up front. A hint of smoke and wood in the middle, and it calms right down.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of smoke or a little bit of wood and smoke in the back end, but not harsh at all. Very good.
See, I just took another drink while you were talking, and I got a little bit of that oak back again. So it's like it's coming and going depending on how big of a drink you take. Is kind of the flavors that you get out of it. The citrus is not super bright. It's very subdued. It's kind of mellowed itself in really, really well with that smoke. The bottom of the smoke is completely gone, replaced with like this real dark fruited sweetness without being too sweet at all. That is so good. You all need to make this cocktail. That was freaking amazing. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. And I think we'll start with NVIDIA. We've got a couple NVIDIA things to talk about. One serious, one less serious. I think we'll talk about the less serious one first, and that is say goodbye to GTX cards forever. NVIDIA is officially sunsetting GTX. It has been a very long time NVIDIA brand. Started kind of as a trailer to product names, more of like a tier of a particular product, because the first GTX card, actually I ran the first GTX card. It was the 9800 GTX. I ran them in SLI in 2008 on my i7 920 rig. Still one of my favorite computers I ever built. But there was the 9600 GT, there was the 9800 GT, and then there was the 9800 GTX. And that was the first version of GTX that we got. After the 9800, they started the GTX series of cards, starting with the GTX 260. GTX 260, GTX 280. And then they've had that same naming scheme ever since then, ever since those cards were introduced. Now, obviously, they're sticking with the same type of naming scheme where instead of being a trailer, GTX became the brand, or, you know, basically the moniker for GeForce. So it was the GeForce GTX 1060, 1070, 2080, whatever.
Almost the shorthand.
Right. And that's being sunsetted in favor of RTX because, well, every single NVIDIA card at this point supports RTX. Which I think is kind of stupid. I would still love to see some non-RTX cards out there, but again, if NVIDIA is able to fill all their fab quotas and sell all of the products they're producing, why would you cut features out of a product? So it's RTX from here on out. Everything's going to have machine learning and ray tracing and tensor cores, and yep. End of an era. Basically, the last series of cards, the GTX 1660, 1650, and 1630, they are leaving fabrication now, and once those cards are sold, GTX is gone forever.
All I kept thinking was this. Oh, wait. I missed the tiny bit.
You have... The noise canceling is killing it. I'm not even getting it in my ear.
It's the I Will Remember You song.
Well, good. We were going to get demonetized anyway.
I know. I would have played 10 seconds. We would have been fine. It was humor. It was satire.
Yes.
That should be totally fine.
Terrific song. There, I'm reviewing it.
Yeah. I love that song.
Mm-hmm.
Grammy Award winning, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there we go. Well, thank you, noise canceling.
Yeah.
Saving the monetization of this episode.
Today's video brought to you by nVidia RTX Voice. 7800 GTX? Was there a 7800 GTX? There was a 7800 GTX. I stand corrected. Trying to remember what 7000 series card that I had. 7650? 7650 GT? Is that it? 7650 GS. No, it wasn't the GS. No, 7600 GT. Okay. Okay. Yeah, speaking of RTX. Next up, let's get into kind of the story of the week. Emulation has kind of been in the spotlight for a couple of different companies. We'll start with nVidia, and then we'll move on to Nintendo and some of the big news there of the week. So nVidia, we all know that one of the main reasons that they have been very successful in enterprise has been the creation of Cuda. Strangely enough, dating back to the inception of GTX as a moniker for their cards. Cuda was released right around the same time as the 8800 series of GeForce cards. And it is an API. It is a language of basically how to crunch numbers and interact directly with NVIDIA GPUs on an enterprise or number crunching level. I know it's more complicated than that. I don't care. But Cuda has been a unified platform since the day it launched. I believe it was in 2007 is when Cuda launched. And the cool thing about Cuda is, regardless of what NVIDIA card you buy, if you buy an NVIDIA GT 1030 or an H100, you can run your Cuda core or your Cuda code on that GPU. Mm-hmm. It scales perfectly. Every single card supports it. And it is 100% backwards compatible. If you wrote Cuda software for 1.0, it'll still run today. Now, there's probably things that you could do to tweak it, to enhance it or optimize it or whatever else, but the code will still run. It's hard to say that about almost any other language, including like C++. Like, we add to C++ every single year, and we deprecate features in C++ too. There are some things from the 90s that C++ can no longer do, or functions that no longer work the way they used to. John, right?
Yes, I know. The struggles are real in my department.
Yes. So yeah, Cuda has been one of the main reasons that NVIDIA has been so successful, is if you write software and you rely on that software, you can just upgrade the hardware as many times as you want, keep running that software ad infinitum. Because of that, I don't want to call it a monopoly. I want to fall short of calling it a monopoly, because it's simply become kind of an industry standard, kind of like VMware is kind of an industry standard for enterprise virtualization, but it's not a monopoly. There are other companies that want you to buy their graphics and machine learning accelerator cards. There's Intel and AMD, which both are kind of trying to go all in on the AI thing as well. But how do you reach customers that have been Cuda shops for 15 plus years? Yeah. Well, you pull an old wine trick out of your hat and you use a translation layer. You emulate Cuda. You basically do real-time decompilation of Cuda, and whatever calls Cuda is making, you make the approximate calls on your hardware and run Cuda software in real time on non-supported hardware, on Intel graphics or Gaudi accelerators using one API, or on AMD cards using their translation layer. Overall, both companies have pretty good implementations of this. And the fun thing about these implementations is they can be clean room, or they're clean room decompilations. As long as you know what Cuda is trying to do, you can take those same instruction calls and just point them to the proper hardware on your own devices and run Cuda core on an Intel chip or an AMD chip. NVIDIA doesn't like this for a litany of reasons. Number one, it's, directly opposed to them owning the entire AI landscape. And so, notably, NVIDIA is not thrilled about these APIs encroaching on their territory and stealing their customers. In NVIDIA's end-user license agreement, it does state that you must run your Cuda code on a Cuda-supported GPU from NVIDIA. The funny thing, though, is you don't have to.
Nope.
Legally, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. As long as the implementations were clean room implementations, the DMCA allows you to do real-time translation and media shifting. It's a completely legal thing. The end-user license agreement is an agreement that you enter in to be able to use Cuda software. But if the terms of it are not legally binding, then the end-user license agreement is also not legally binding. It's not a legally binding contract that you're signing. It is NVIDIA stating the terms that they would like you to agree to. One of my favorite EULA statements ever, I think, was Yahoo Mail. Said you may not access Yahoo Mail on any systems, devices, or computers that interact with nuclear launch capabilities of a nation.
Wait, what?
It was in the EULA. I believe it was Yahoo Mail. You cannot log into Yahoo Mail from a computer with the 2 red keys. Because we will not be held liable for it, for a nuclear Armageddon.
Yeah, okay.
It was in the user license agreement.
What lawyer thought, no, we gotta include that. We gotta include that, guys. That's gonna happen.
Let's just make sure to cover our bases.
Yeah. Probably like the old guy in the corner. Don't forget nuclear launch computers.
Yeah. So, obviously, NVIDIA is not happy about Intel and AMD encroaching on their...
Pizza's here.
Yeah. Sorry, one sec.
Oh, yeah.
It's been 40 minutes and my pizza's not here yet.
Driver got lost.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, cold pizza. Too bad they don't, man. Too bad they don't implement that. And it was Domino's who did it first. The 20 minutes or your pizza is free.
Right.
Michael, yep. Ever since he told me earlier before the show started that Jeff was ordering pizza, and then I was just like, great, now I want pizza.
Yeah.
Turn you.
Sorry, one sec.
No worries. Go with.
You might need to call them. It says it's still doing quality check as of 6/17, and they haven't moved. So.
Is that who called you?
No. No. Maybe. Did someone call me?
I just see it says missed call.
Oh, someone. Oh.
I wonder if they don't have the ingredients.
Oh. Yeah, give them a call, please.
That's been 16 minutes open.
Yeah. Weird.
Well, we all know how that quality check meter is really good, Skull.
Yeah. Sorry. 2 minutes before the show, my daughter comes in and goes, "Hey, will you order me a pizza? I'm really hungry and I'll pay for it." And I said, "Okay." So I got on ordered a pizza and I'm like, "Well, I haven't had dinner yet, so I'll order myself a pizza too." It was 40 minutes ago, and apparently there's a problem with it. We have an address that is here. We have an address that is our own here at the store. Did it autocomplete with their address?
We've delivered it, and it's here. So, it's done.
What in the world?
Yeah, you autofilled it with the browser?
No, it said where to deliver to. It put their address in instead of my house. What the hell?
Well, that C++ on that browser sure is looking out.
What the heck? Okay. Cool. They're probably running Access 95 for their delivery.
Probably, actually. I'll go over there and I'll help them out. I know.
I have insider knowledge.
I know the ins and outs of that like the back of my hand.
Yes.
I can upgrade them to 2003. No problem.
They're quality checking your order by eating it. Yes. Dang AI. The pizza's coming from inside the pizzeria. Well, yeah, that's where I wanted it to come from. My kid wants buffalo chicken. I'll be back, says Roy. So, yeah. Probably not the first time it's happened, to be honest. Microsoft Maps. Oh, God. I'll tell you how old I am. So, gosh, when was this? 2007? GPS was just starting to come with turn-by-turn directions. Like, this is like the early days of TomTom and
oh yes,
Garmin's and all that kind of stuff. 2006, 2007 is when they first started.
The pre-installed SD cards that you had to update.
Yeah, exactly. They first started hitting the market offering turn-by-turn directions. MapQuest old. The last job interview I went to, I had MapQuest directions on how to get there.
Oh yeah, I remember MapQuest.
And they were wrong.
My mother-in-law still uses MapQuest. She last year was like, "I gotta take my husband to the doctors," and she printed out MapQuest, and I have just, oh my gosh.
Hopped in her Lexus with the 13-inch screen. Right. But no, we went to... We flew into Oklahoma. We were seeing a whole bunch of family and driving this route. And so we went to Texas, Arkansas. We didn't quite hit Missouri, but we did go into Kansas. And then we stayed in Kansas for a little bit. And then drove back to Oklahoma and flew out. None of us had been there before. And I didn't want to... It wasn't like you could just get internet anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, sitting down at a Burger King or a Starbucks and getting free Wi-Fi still wasn't a thing. Yeah, I could have sat there with an atlas and, an old, McAllen road map or something like that and charted out our trip with a magnifying glass. But I'm like, no, I'm better than that. I got computers and crap. So I actually bought Microsoft Streets and Trips, and I brought my laptop, and it comes with a little serial adapter that was a GPS receiver that you can mount in your car. And so I sat in the passenger seat with my laptop, and I navigated the entire trip. Real-time directions, turn by turn. It was great.
What was it? It was like an old LG Octane, or it was like one of the old flip phones. I think it just said LG flip phone, but that I remember buying that, and it had turn by turn. Oh, here it is. Yeah, oh my gosh, this thing. I think I still have it. I might buy this just for nostalgia.
Just for nostalgia.
Yeah, it's $12 on eBay.
Oh hell yeah!
I mean, but it had a Q keyboard, but it had turn by turn voice GPS on it, and this was 2006, 2007.
Yeah,
and so it was like, oh, it was the greatest thing, and it had huge speakers, had a 1.3 megapixel camera on the back end, and a manual focus, and it had a manual macro or standard focus. You could actually adjust the lens.
Wow.
So, let's see. Post it in the Discord. I kind of want this back. I wonder if I remember I even jailbreaked it to play Street Fighter on it.
Not long after that trip, I bought a Palm Treo 650. No, I had the Palm Treo. Yeah. No, this was 2000. I would have had the Palm Treo. So the Palm Treo was really fun because it had an actual web browser on it. It was a genuine smartphone. And when the iPhone came out, I went, I don't need an iPhone. I've already got a smartphone with a full keyboard. Thank you. And but AT&T / Singular at the time had this really fun thing for their cell phones called MediaNet, where if you had a feature phone, a Nokia chocolate bar or whatever else, you could get unlimited internet on their private MediaNet network. And so you could listen to songs and read news and ESPN and things like that, but it was a very limited subset of the internet. And the phones didn't have full browsers. Now, if you signed up for MediaNet, it was $10 a month for unlimited data. But if you had a smartphone, they wanted, I think, $35 a month for unlimited data. And I'm like, well, I don't want to pay that. Well, someone figured out that if you jailbreak the Treo and you change essentially the DNS servers that you point to, your service has the same authentication whether you sign up for MediaNet or unlimited internet with a smartphone. And so you can sign up for the $10 service and then just point your DNS somewhere else and you get unlimited internet. You could also jailbreak it so you could tether your phone to your laptop over USB and use it like a cellular modem.
Oh, jeez. I miss old phones.
So I did that for a long time. A long time.
How did we get on old cell phones?
I don't know. I'm literally browsing eBay for old cell phones now too.
It was MapQuest.
Yeah,
that's how it was, and the GPSs. Yep, and then I brought it up. Yep.
And
somehow this all comes back to Cuda cores.
Yeah. Well, we're all in a simulation, so.
It says $22 include for shipping everything for my phone. That might be worth it just for the nostalgia.
I mean, right?
I threw that thing in it went through the washing machine. It went through like a shower, or fell into a bathtub once. Still came out. Bag of rice, worked. My screen worked. everything worked.
My Treo I used for 3.5 years. At one point, it fell out of my pocket in a field and someone ran over it. I pulled it out of the mud and I did do a full teardown. Tore it apart, isopropyl alcoholed everything, put it all back together, fired right back up. Used it for another year.
You know, so this thing actually comes with stereo speakers. I bet this has better sound than modern phones.
You might not be wrong about that.
That experiment in itself is now going to be worth the $22 I'm going to spend right now. And purchased.
Nice. One last note on cell phones. I do have my Treo 650 still. I also own a Treo 680, which I also loved. I had a Palm Centro for a while, which was their budget Palm OS device. And while it was a 3G capable phone, the ARM process, they did some really weird things with whatever ARM processor they went with on the Centro because half the software was just incompatible. And so Palm OS had a pretty robust infrastructure and software library. And the Palm Centro just couldn't run half of it. And so I drove a Palm Centro for a couple of weeks and then returned that phone. The one Palm device I always wanted and never got was the Palm Pro. So Palm did a really funny thing with the 700 is the 700 was a Windows CE based phone, or Windows mobile phone.
Yeah.
And it was not very good. It was not well received.
I wanted it though. I remember that phone. I wanted it.
Decent hardware, but not great. Not great software. And it killed your entire software library if you were a Palm user. Well, Palm then did they made a professional phone. They made the Palm Treo Pro. And that phone came out they had a GSM model of the phone and they had a CDMA model of the phone. Sprint exclusively, I believe, got Palm OS versions of that phone. And I always wanted the Palm OS Palm Pro. They are super, super rare anymore. The only ones I ever find, even the Sprint ones, are all Windows-based phones. But I always wanted a Palm Pro with Palm OS. Because to me, that just felt like the ultimate, ascension of
top
that
tier
brand. Yeah. Always wanted one, never got one. Anyway. The Nextel walkie-talkies. I did carry one of those for work for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I remember, and then a lot of different phones had those. Oh, I remember. I actually I never got one, but I always kind of wanted one.
Yep. No, I had a Nextel flip phone that I had to carry with me forever.
Yeah, a lot of people. I used to do construction, and a lot of people in the warehouse had those versus actual walkie-talkies. But then I had but I was like, that's so cool. I don't have to text message my friends or spend money on data. It's right here. Nope. I wasn't cool enough.
Yep. Is this the Palm OS version? Sorry, I just found one that might be the Palm OS version.
I love how we went into classic phones. I'm like, let's go buy some.
Yeah. All right, I'm getting off eBay. I'm going to be here forever.
Mixology March off to a great start.
Yes. I didn't pregame tonight. I rarely pregame anymore.
No, I
don't have the energy for it. But
we're getting up there, Jeff. We're getting up there.
Yep.
Rhett's still the young, spry chicken, but the rest of us.
Yeah. Is he 30 yet?
Is he? I don't even know.
Yes.
I think he's like 28. He looks 28.
He's perpetually 28. That guy pisses me off to no end.
I know.
Stop looking so young.
The bad part is all he has to do is shave, and he looks really young then too. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, Rhett. Luckily, he always has that like scruff, so that ages him at least 2 years.
Yeah.
So.
What is this now? Tech throwback with Watch JR Go? I would do a tech throwback video with Watch JR Go. That would be a fun video. I think I could give him a run for his money very easily. I've had a lot of weird and esoteric tech in my life. Like I said, I had Microsoft Streets and Trips with the serial GPS adapter. So I can throw down with the best of them. Nintendo.
Yes.
Let's talk Nintendo. So we did mention it last week. This story broke last Tuesday. That Nintendo had sued the emulator developer Yuzu for basically violation of copyright, piracy, and the whole... I think I said during that show, the whole court complaint, the lawsuit that they filed, a lot of people go, well, look at Nintendo just, patting themselves on the back and, Obama giving Obama the medal and things like that. Like, Nintendo is a multi-billion-dollar national, international corporation which does so much in sales and blah, 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 blah. Do you know what Nintendo was doing during that complaint? They were establishing damages. That was... It wasn't necessarily Nintendo just jerking themselves off, although I'm sure that's part of it. It was to establish this act by Yuzu has harmed our bottom line by using our own IP. And that's not okay. And normally, I am no Nintendo apologist. I have been on record many, many times saying Nintendo is often on the wrong side of copyright, of user protections, of user rights, of a lot of different things. If they even sniff a fan recreation made by enthusiasts using Pokemon IP or something like that, they will C&D that so fast it'll make your head spin.
We've done a number of articles about this, stories about this type of stuff.
And 9 times out of 10, Nintendo's in the wrong. I feel Nintendo morally, ethically, even probably legally, is probably in the wrong, but it's not illegal to send a cease and desist letter. It's a scummy move, but it's not illegal. And technically within their right to do, and they can exercise that right all they want, and they often do. Nintendo's one of the most litigious companies on the planet when it comes to defending their IP. In this case, Nintendo got it right. And that shouldn't be a controversial opinion. This is not me saying emulation is illegal and I'm glad they shut Yuzu down. Don't misunderstand me. But even if emulation is legal, which it is, you still cannot violate the rights of the copyright holders. Specifically, by essentially encouraging people to pirate your brand new billion-dollar game.
Yeah.
For those who don't know the full story, Tears of the Kingdom came out last year to critical appraise. I believe it was sometime in late, like June 23rd or something like that. On June 1st, people had leaked Tears of the Kingdom 1.0 as a playable ROM. Now, Yuzu had kind of flaunted before, hey, play your Nintendo games on a PC and play them the right way. Play them at 60 frames per second and 1440p, and And honestly, that's probably perfectly legal as long as they're doing clean room decompilation or clean room reverse engineering. That is totally legal and legitimate in the emulation space. It's why nVidia doesn't have a foot to stand on when it comes to Intel and AMD saying, hey, run your Cuda code over here because we figured out how to run Cuda code. When the moment Tears of the Kingdom launched, this is where things got dicey. Because it's one thing to allow people to run a game on your software if they've legally purchased it. It's another thing to come out with optimizations and updates for your emulator to enhance Tears of the Kingdom before Tears of the Kingdom has launched officially by Nintendo. That means, number one, you have a pre-release version of Tears of the Kingdom. And because they were placing the updates behind a Patreon paywall, you had to be a member of the Yuzu Patreon to get the most up-to-date version of Yuzu, which included the Tears of the Kingdom optimizations. You are now profiting directly off of Nintendo's IP before you're legally allowed to possess Nintendo's IP.
Yeah.
That's not a good move.
I mean, to put it in simple terms, it would be the same as getting a Oscar DVD release of a movie before it came out, owning your own theater, playing it on there, and profiting off of the ticket sales.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially, before the movie's even released,
Mm-hmm.
That'd be the essential same thing.
Yeah. You know, Yuzu has towed the line probably a lot closer than they should have many, many times before. As far as their marketing, they didn't really do any marketing, but they had great, reach through social media and Reddit and Discord, and very active communities where they would say, hey, yeah, buy the game for Nintendo and then come play it on our system. Dump your ROM and do this. They always played it a little loose. And they said that they were well aware that pirates were using their software to run games they didn't own. But the thing is, homebrew and piracy, because of the securities that are in place on Nintendo and basically every other console, piracy and homebrew go hand in hand. Yes, I have a modded 3DS that I play homebrew on. I have Devolution X, the Diablo decompilation port running on my 3DS, and it's amazing. I have eDuke 3D, Duke Nukem 3D in 3D running on my 3DS, and it's amazing. I have the Red Dragon 3DS emulator, which was, or not 3DS, Virtual Boy emulator, which has now been updated and supports full 3D. I can play Virtual Boy games in 3D again, and it's so freaking cool. I have that running on my 3DS. But in order to get homebrew to run, you have to allow unsigned code to run, which is the same exact process of allowing retail games to run. So of course, homebrew is going to attract piracy. The difference is what you do with that information. The difference is what Yuzu or Atmosphere or any other homebrew developer does with that information. You cannot promote piracy. You can promote homebrew because that is a legitimate and legal use of backdooring or jailbreaking a console. You can promote playing your legally obtained ROMs on Yuzu. Media shifting is totally a legitimate use of your software license, much to Nintendo's chagrin. The problem is, in order to legally dump your own game, you have to jailbreak your console in the first place, but that's a whole nother story and conversation. But you cannot endorse the piracy aspect of it. And Yuzu did. And Yuzu profited off of that. That made Nintendo not very happy. And so as much as I disagree with Nintendo's stance that emulation kills creativity, or that emulation itself should be illegal, they are flat out wrong, and they would honestly get laughed out of court. I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice. They would likely be laughed out of court. They're going to bleed you dry in that argument, though. So Nintendo will never sue Yuzu to claim emulation is illegal. But just like Al Capone, it's the tax fraud that'll get you.
Yep.
It's not the murder, it's the little things. It's the stealing our money that'll get you.
Yep. No, they Honestly, if they just waited a month, they would have been fine. That's really all it could have been. If they waited a month and then did everything after the fact, then they could have claimed a lot of different things, that it was a purchase license. And even then, there's a lot of legality within there, but it was before the fact. It was, they were profiting off of their Patreon paywall, stating, hey, we'll fix these bugs, knowing that right there is them knowing they're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They're, okay. So I agree that a lot of the articles that we have read about Nintendo going after emulators, there's that one really famous one where the guy is like paying a buttload of money back. I remember it was a while ago.
That was a couple years ago. There was a guy who set up a website with a membership service where you could buy an online membership and play emulated Nintendo games in your browser.
Yeah.
Do you know what that guy was doing? He was making money off Nintendo's proprietary IP. That's what did him in. It wasn't the emulation.
Yeah.
It was the money.
And even that Nintendo won't see a dime from that guy anyways. But even then that was kind of a crappy move on Nintendo's part of the way they're going. Yeah, you'll see a lot of times Nintendo will just be like, "Oh, we see you making $1. We deserve that $1." However, with this particular game, probably their biggest release will probably be the last big release for the Switch till the Switch 2 comes out.
Oh, yeah.
I can totally see this happening. And the fact that, on top of this, there is other monetary loss value, not in just the profit of buying the game, but of like content creators doing stuff with this.
Mm-hmm.
That they sponsor content creators, and then they're losing monetary value because some other creator came out with it, or some value of a video, blah, blah, blah. There's actually a lot more stuff than just, oh, they didn't buy their game, who cares? There's actually a lot more promotional things that went into it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
This one, as much as like you said, I usually don't side with Nintendo. Yeah, this one's...
It's kind of hard not to in this case.
Yeah, I was like, that was a dick move, dude. That was a dick move.
Not cool, bro.
Not cool, bro.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that one.
Yeah.
And I love it. Their statement even claims, we don't promote or ever wanted piracy or whatever. Dude, you're an emulator. Going into it, 50% of your probably users, if not more, are thinking that.
We write today to inform you that Yuzu and Yuzu's support of Citra are being discontinued effective immediately. Yuzu and its team have always been against piracy. We started these projects in good faith out of passion for Nintendo and its consoles and games, and we're not intending to cause harm. But we see now that our projects can circumvent Nintendo's technological protection measures and allow users to play games outside of authorized hardware. They have led to extensive piracy. In particular, this written by Nintendo's lawyers for the settlement. This ain't from Yuzu.
Yeah, this is totally sign this and release it, and we may reduce your charges by 20%.
They're not criminal charges. This is entirely civil. There's nothing criminal going on here. This was a civil suit, and Yuzu, the developers, did settle. They agreed to a $2.4 million cash settlement to Nintendo. They agreed to release rights to every bit of IP that Yuzu owns. So that is their website, their code, their GitHub repositories, everything that Yuzu ever owned is now property of Nintendo as per the settlement. And that's not necessarily Nintendo coming in and saying, we own you now. That is, we can charge you $10 million or you can just give us the things that violated our IP. And so that was a settlement. That's what that is. In particular, we have been deeply disappointed when users have used our software to leak game content prior to its release and ruin the experience for legitimate purchasers and fans. You say that, but you provided optimizations for a game that was not released yet and charged for those optimizations. So,
Yep. That's yep.
Yeah. No, this was written, and what's funny is, people are gonna try to take this as a, people who don't understand law are gonna try to take this as a legal precedent. Oh, emulation is now illegal. No, you can be sued for damaging a company's bottom line by circumventing their protections and
IPs.
promoting the use of their software that's not released yet on an unauthorized device. Yes, you can be held financially responsible for any losses that incur there. That doesn't mean emulation is illegal. This statement from Yuzu doesn't mean emulation is illegal. Nothing about this says emulation is illegal. This is not legal. This is civil. There is a difference. Does that mean Nintendo will go after the thousands odd emulator-based consoles on AliExpress? The thing is, copyright laws inside of China, let's just say they're looser. Nintendo might not have the best legal footing in China to be able to cut the heads off these snakes. Now, what Nintendo probably can do, and what I'm sure that they've done before, is seize large quantities of these devices that are coming ashore, but you'd have to know what software is running on these devices in order to intercept and seize cargo. And thus far, Nintendo has shown no real effort to do that. They have seized like R4 carts before, you know, homebrew cartridges and things like that. But in my mind, that might be one of Nintendo's only recourses for something like this, is catching it when it leaves the country or when it tries to enter Japan / US / Europe / wherever. The thing is, I don't think Nintendo honestly cares that much about retro emulation. I don't think they do. Unless you're making, serious money off of it. But the thing is, the emulators are out there. The ROMs are out there. The full repositories are available to download. It's not like you can cut the head off that snake anymore. And so, to a certain extent, Nintendo just kind of lives with it. I'm sure they don't like it, but how much money are you going to pull out of some random AliExpress console that's selling for $6 a piece at a cost of $5 a piece? Like, there's not a lot of money that you're going to get out of an organization like that, if you can even sue that organization where they exist in Shenzhen, China.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that won't happen. And again, yeah, I think you're right about the retro stuff. They don't really care. And again, that's why this one I think was a bigger deal, because it is their biggest IP that's probably going to be for till their next console. And that was the big deal. We have talked about other retro gaming things, but that took years. Nintendo didn't really care. Mm-hmm. Even the suit itself in the settlement was like, they got to pay $1 a day, and then he didn't pay $1 a day. Nintendo was like, look, we honestly don't care, but this is ridiculous. Yeah. And those are one of the stories of like, yeah, Nintendo's being dumb here, where the guy's got to pay $1 a day. This is stupid. Nintendo already made their money on a billion times over on all of these games, but this was a brand new game that wasn't even released yet, and so this is a little bit different. So,
we do have a couple super chats.
Okay,
let me do the super chats, and I literally just polished off my Belvedere there, so we'll jump into the next one here momentarily. Denver sends over a $10 super chat. Thank you. I did see it, and I saw Skull answered you, but I figured I'd read it again. I totally heard the story wrong. I thought it was third parties that directed people to use Yuzu, and Yuzu specifically said they would not be supporting the Tears of the Kingdom leak. That is in reference to Tears of the Kingdom dropping early and Yuzu creating optimizations for it before the launch. Yuzu implemented game fixes and optimizations for Tears of the Kingdom prior to the launch date of Tears of the Kingdom, and they held those updates behind their Patreon as a paywall. And I think that is the action that ultimately got Nintendo's ire, is for that particular instance. Look, there have been a dozen Nintendo games that have leaked early over the last 12 months. This is the one that got the attention because this is the one that got the attention of Yuzu. And this is the one that Nintendo went, hey, they're directly affecting our bottom line and potentially costing us sales. Who's going to go out and buy Tears of the Kingdom from the Nintendo shop now when they can just download it and play it on Yuzu and it already runs better than it would on the Switch anyway? So Nintendo, I don't think, can really go after emulation for emulation's sake. But again, it's the little things that'll screw you up. Emulation is legal, piracy and theft is not.
Well, also, what if the emulation and then someone streamed for that emulation, thus, and then showing a glitch? Thus, technically, you could argue showing an error within the game of Nintendo's product, even though it actually isn't an error in that product, because that's not even Nintendo's product. Therefore, defaming Nintendo.
This is an interesting one. Tell you what, let's make our next drinks.
All right. Well, I don't have a cocktail.
Okay, well, you're just going to crack a beer.
I'm just going to crack a beer.
Denver also sends over another $5. Thank you very much. Heard so many articles saying the civil case settled before trial somehow set precedent as if it were criminal without pre-trial settlement. No. Because civil decisions are strictly civil decisions. You can reference civil decisions in criminal prosecution, as we've already established some facts over here, or we've got an admission of guilt as part of a settlement for this, which means we can now press criminal charges. That could totally be a thing with the parties involved, with Yuzu and with Nintendo directly being involved. Nintendo can point to their case against Yuzu and say they've already admitted to faults or to an illegal act over here. The criminal charges should automatically stick over here. What can't happen is an uninvolved third party from this case point that this is legal precedent. That's not a thing. As far as my understanding of the law. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even play one on TV. I just listen to a lot of them. So, anyway, next cocktail. This one is a little bit of a variation of a cocktail that I made some years ago. And in fact, I think I need to relook up my recipe real quick. Let's see. There.
Well, you can do that. Oh, you got it?
Yes. Go ahead and open your beer because I got to go grab another ice cube and whatnot. So.
Yep. All right. So I kind of have a cocktail of beers where you mix more than one beverage. Well, this is a collaboration beer between Equilibrium and Parish. It is Ghost in the Laboratory. This is a double IPA, 8.5%. I'm guessing extremely hazy, as the Ghost series is delicious. Pouring out grassy hazy. I can smell it from here. Excellent glassware. Can't see the bubbles. Oh, smells like a wonderful cocktail of beer.
Did you just pour yourself some guava juice? What is that?
It is it's my cocktail of beer, in the sense that cocktail is at least two ingredients mixed together.
That's correct.
Well, this is a collaboration, so kind of like a cocktail of beers.
Well, so did they brew them together, or did they brew them separately and then mix the batch? Because then it's a cocktail.
See, that's a good point.
Then it's a cocktail.
But it's Equilibrium's and Parish's Ghost Laboratory, double IPA, 8.5%. Yeah, just hazy goodness. It smells so tropical. It's one of those beers you love to just smell. No acid burn. Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Well, I too am doing a little bit more of a citrusy drink. I don't even really have a name for it. It's kind of a house recipe, but I am making one massive change to this drink. So this one I don't have a name for it. It's a pineapple based cocktail. But
you already got my attention.
But I use pineapple and then like a bar spoon of lime juice, and then I shake the ever-loving crap out of it, and it emulsifies the pineapple almost like an egg white, and you get this super rich, creamy foam on top of it.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So that it's a cocktail I love. It's super delicious. Normally, if you want to class up a vodka-based drink, you replace the vodka with gin, right?
Yep.
Well, I made this with 2 ounces of white rum, but I wanted to warm it up a little bit, and so I've got this fantastic Chippewa barrel finished gin.
Okay.
That I've been loving for a while. I've not tried this. It could be awful, but gin and pineapple does mix very well. Gin and lime mix very well, so I'm going to replace the 2 ounces of rum with 2 ounces of barrel finished gin, and I'm going to see if it kind of rounds out this citrusy cocktail.
All right.
Very much an experiment.
I actually recently got a new gin too, and it's a citrus gin. I almost wonder if I want to try this recipe now with that gin.
So here's the recipe. Oh, I forgot my pineapple juice. 2 seconds.
Because I just made some pineapple. Well, my son got kind of into pineapple, so I just made some, not actual pineapple juice, but concentrated pineapple juice. So yeah, we just made some concentrated pineapple juice because my son started getting into pineapple. Well, he wanted to try a pineapple for the first time, so he was like, I don't like pineapple, but I like pineapple candy. So that's like, well, here, have pineapple juice.
Yeah.
See if you like that first. And,
so if you like pineapple-based cocktails,
I love it.
Go to a restaurant supply store and get these little 6-ounce cans.
Oh, see, that's perfect.
Because then you don't have to open a giant, 24-ounce can of pineapple juice.
Yeah.
Have 2 ounces of it and then throw the rest away because you're never going to drink that. So I buy this. I buy it in bulk. You get it in 48 packs, and it's like $26. So it's like 50 cents a can, and these last forever. I do this with pineapple and I do this with cranberry juice, and it is a super economical way to have access to these juices and not waste all of it. So I've got a mixing tin here, and we've got again 1 giant rock in there. I should probably add some crushed ice, but I'm not gonna. So I'm going to do 2 ounces of my pineapple juice here. There we go. We're going to do... How much simple was it? Half-ounce simple syrup. So this is just a 2-to-1 simple syrup. There we go.
Novella Hub wants to know if your pizza arrives.
It did, finally, yes.
Elmas wants to know when the top-down camera angle's coming for Mixology March.
I probably should have set one up. I just completely forgot about it. So... Next week we'll have the top down. Oh wow, my my strainer, my juicer is horribly dirty because apparently it didn't get clean the last time I used it. So we're just gonna squeeze this by hand. So I've just got a 1/4 lime wedge. Just gonna squeeze that in there.
That's the other bad part. Limes always keep. Whenever I buy some, they spoil because they don't have enough lime. So I end up just buying the concentrated lime squeeze, pre-made stuff.
Yeah.
But fresh is always better.
Yes.
I actually like the little bit of pulp that you get.
Yeah.
Yeah. That always adds that little bit of texture to a cocktail.
Yep. All right, and then we are going to add 2 ounces of my barrel finished gin. One and 2. There we go. And much like a drink with an egg white or anything like that, you really want to shake it.
You gotta go hard on it.
Yeah.
It really does make a difference. I mean, you can't just like twist it a little bit. You gotta shake that thing like a Polaroid picture would from Outcast. Even harder than that.
There we
you
go.
want that foam.
Yeah.
You want it when you pour out, there's a creaminess to it.
See all that foam? That's it? Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Grab my strainer here. I've got myself a Craft Computing rocks glass and a lime wheel already on there. And see that foam?
There is that foam. That's it right there. That's what you want. See that? That's good foam.
Yeah.
That's thick and sticky.
So it's the combo of the pineapple and the lime juice that breaks it down like this. That and the agitation.
Yeah. No, yeah. When you have the acidics in there and they'll break down with the sugar, they'll mold together and make a really great creaminess to it. Yep.
Look at that.
Yeah, no, I would do the same thing with lime, pineapple, and vodka and coconut rum, but I'd shake the ever living out of it. And
yeah. Normally I do this drink, but instead of the gin, I do 2 ounces of white rum, and it turns out fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's a great drink. I make something similar. Yeah, very good, very good.
So there we go. My as of yet unnamed, deliciously citrusy, but this time rum-based tiki drink. So, cheers.
Well, let's see. Hang on. Now we got to put to the chat what is their suggestions?
That is interesting.
Go in. Oh yeah, with the rum.
That is very with the gin. That is.
Oh, gin. Yeah, the barrel. Well, the oakiness, because usually those barrel aged gins are pretty oaky too.
Mm-hmm.
What does that taste like?
Mm-hmm. Very pineapple forward, obviously. Oh, that oakiness almost turns it into like a candied finish. Oh, that is delightful. The oak and the pineapple, it's almost like you get that citrus and that little bit of lime bite right up front, and then it finishes like butterscotch. Like it finishes super warm and rich. Ooh. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I like a buttered rum, butterscotch, almost kind of finish to it. That is super interesting. Let's see.
Okay,
Pineapple Sunrise. I don't like the Sunrise as a name because I don't have any grenadine in here and there's no gradient. I like the Tequila Sunrise and those kind of drinks to have that sunset kind of gradient visually.
Fingy.
Yeah. A Tiki Lou.
Is that supposed to be Pine F Gin? Pine Fin Gin? John J? Or is that Pine F Gin?
Pine F Gin? Yeah.
Pine F Gin?
Rum base, you use gin right. My original recipe was 2 ounces of white rum, 2 ounces of pineapple juice, a 1/4 ounce of lime juice, a 1/2 ounce of simple, shake the bejesus out of it, and then pour. I swapped out the white rum for a barrel finished gin because I wanted to see what it would do.
We call it the Pineapple GTX Gin.
Jeff, please pin the recipe in the comments so we can get a shopping list ahead of the next show. Yes, I will be posting both these recipes in the comments. Captain Tax says, interesting when 2 hobbies intersect. It's my turn in my D&D group to DM. I decided years ago that I would use Fantasy Grounds as the VTT when it was my turn, but now as I look into it, has the option to host campaigns on a dedicated server, and I've gotten really into home labbing in the interim time, so LOL. It's been forever since I've played any kind of tabletop RPG, role-playing, Dungeons and Dragons. I'd love to get back into it. My daughter's actually wanted to get into it. She's expressed some interest in doing it, so I've thought about actually doing downloading some old HeroQuest games, so you can do like a single sitting pre-made characters Dungeons and Dragons style playthrough, so we can see if it's something that she would actually want to dive into. So I might be getting that back out here before too long. But the Pineapple Ginny, Be Jesus Gin. Be Jesus Gin might be kind of fun if it was like sweetened with honey or something like that.
Yeah, the adding honey instead of simple syrup. The honey you'd have to warm it up. It'd be too thick.
Yeah. Yeah, and Skull says one-shots are great for them to get into. Yeah, I mean that's how I got into D&D was doing one-shot campaigns, HeroQuest, that kind of stuff. I still have HeroQuest. I have my HeroQuest board game from when I was a kid. I've got that, and I've got Dragonlance. Dragonlance is less of an tabletop RPG, but it does have some of those RPG introductory elements in it. And both fun as hell games. What's really funny, so I have my cocktail book, the Mystic Libations from Todd Stashwick. In the back of that book is a playable D&D campaign, which is amazing.
Nice.
Anyway, you mentioned the Nintendo taking down gameplay streams or footage, recorded footage of a game that was pre-release.
Yep.
I always felt Nintendo was heavy-handed in that. Street date is only legally enforceable if you are the retailer who has signed a contract saying I will not sell a game before a street date. Same with movies. Movies and games have street date releases, and they're usually on Tuesday. It just is the way it is. But in my short time working in retail in various big box stores, there were street dates for movies that would be released, and in the back room there would be these giant pallets that were covered in shrink wrap and a whole bunch of do not open stickers all over them. Do not open before 6 a.m. on December 22nd, Tuesday, whatever year. And it's because that was the next movie that was coming out. The reason that you had to abide by that street date is because the corporation or whatever big box store signed a contract that said we will not sell this thing before this date, and that's very common for release dates. You as a customer, if you buy something, you're under no such pretense.
Well, that's you buying it, though. That's you buying it.
You buying
Now,
it,
see,
correct.
Yeah, no, my argument was...
Even if you illegally obtain it, you didn't sign an NDA.
No, but my argument was to the company that facilitated the illegal copy, you could then go for additional, defamation toward them, especially if there were as a leaked copy or a ROMmed copy has problems, and then therefore in the video someone showing it has problems and making the masses think the game itself has errors in it. So that was my original thought. But yeah, I agree with you to where if you go to a store, a major place, and then they'd sell you the game before ahead of time. This has happened to me even technically, like before a Black Friday sale. Technically, I went and schmoozed a salesperson to be like, hey, just cut me this open. I just want this one thing and I want to go. I want to beat the rush. And the guy sold it to me a couple hours ahead of time before the old school Black Friday, where people were trampling over everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, that's the same thing. He sold it to me a few hours before release date.
Yep.
So that's... I understand that aspect. Usually when that happens, though, if the major corporation gets wind of that constantly happening, they will probably never sell to that company ever again.
Mm-hmm.
But for this aspect of pirating, my thought was just more toward another defamation lawsuit or ways of they lost income.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple different angles, and they could.
There are legal standings for basically playing a movie before a release date and causing monetary harm to a company. There are standards for that. With video games, it would be a little weird. Although that's potentially an argument one could make, is if someone wanted to experience the game themselves and then all of a sudden it shows up on YouTube with a full playthrough, maybe they'd be less inclined to buy the game, although it'd be a lot more difficult to prove damages in that circumstance.
Well, it'd be like the game through, but then like, oh, here's the glitch we found. Oh, look, every time I go and hit this rock, this glitches, and that's not really it. It's the emulation that's glitching. It's not the actual game that got released. So they're representing the product incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore that is damaging to them because now the consumer doesn't see it as
right. If you're going back to the Yuzu thing, yes, absolutely. I was just talking purely street date.
Oh
issues.
No, yeah, that's what I was talking Yuzu thing of just hey, here's this, and they technically could have actually hit them harder.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you though, as in general term, if the supermarket wanted to release a game a week early, that's fine. That's technically legal. They got their product. They want to make money off of it. Let them do it.
Yeah.
The person. The transactions have already taken place.
Yeah.
However, Nintendo, if they ever got wind of it, or whatever company that is that they did it to, will probably never do business with them again.
Right.
So.
Yep.
And any henceforth damages that company could claim, no, that you can't claim that.
Right. Yeah. For posting gameplay footage on YouTube, it'd be much more difficult to prove damages versus number of confirmed downloads and updates and upkeep by an emulation staff. That's a little, that's an easier target, so to speak.
I see. Endeavor posted something. Months after even other companies have well-wished fair users. Or that's
Nintendo taking down gameplay footage is how late into the show are we? Can I use my one F-bomb drop or no? Keep it PG-13.
All right, kids, plug your ears. Earmuffs.
Nintendo taking down gameplay footage has always been ridiculous.
I mean, they actually, I believe they state that like they require so much commentary over gameplay before it's technically no longer gameplay. You know, like
whatever I do in a game, unless it's a Tomb Raider game, whatever I do in a game has never been seen before. The inputs that I'm making have never been done before and will never be done again.
However, Nintendo will then probably argue, and again, we're going with the Nintendo or the company. We're not seeing your controls. We're not seeing this. So technically, you're just giving.
I don't
gameplay.
care. I don't care. My gameplay is 100% unique to my stream. I could literally just plug in an HDMI cable and broadcast that to Twitch, and that is enough to be, in my opinion, legally discernible as unique and derivative.
Their argument would probably end up being like, "Oh, this is the same as like broadcasting a whole movie, and you're just sitting there watching it on YouTube, but you're like not commentating on it."
Am I allowing others to play my game? Then they're not receiving the same experience as if they were to go and play the game themselves.
That's like,
and their gameplay would be unique and derivative experiences in and of their own right.
That could be interpreted as you could post a movie on YouTube and your screen is on the bottom left corner, so therefore that 10%, they're actually technically experiencing the movie differently than anyone else. And so therefore it's not the same.
A movie is not the same thing because a movie is the same thing every single time through. And your commentary does not make it fair use.
Okay, so you're saying unless
gameplay is a user interactive thing. And my inputs that I make in my game are 100% unique to my individual gameplay.
I could see the argument in that if it's an open world, but if it's a straight RPG, that's kind of hard. Even with Mario. Yeah, side scrollers, that's what I was thinking. Unless the game is built to have a lot of because now let's think of this, not Mario, but third-party scrollers that don't have the budget to build all the side quests.
I think you're adding way too much superlatives and, well, if the game is prettier, or if it's not so pretty, or if it's this. What I'm talking about is the gameplay itself. When I pick up a controller and I tell Mario to jump, I'm performing one action, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
At a particular certain time instance, so therefore it's different. Yeah.
Every single time I jump is unique to the time that I'm telling Mario to jump. The animation is not copyrightable. The display of the game is not copyrightable. And because I, as a player, am doing something new and unique with that game, regardless of is it cool or not cool, or is it a world record run, or is it just me dicking around, it's still a unique experience. It's still unique. It's still something that's never been seen before, which means it's a derivative work, which means it's protected by copyright.
Sure, I can see where you're going with that. What about this though? We're just talking for talk's sake. What if though how you advertise that video?
I'm playing Mario.
And that let's
come watch me play Mario.
Sure. Let's go with that. What if you just said this is a walkthrough of Mario?
That's
now
fine.
It's not. Well, now that's instructional.
No. Do you know why it's not? How? Because Nintendo sued Blockbuster back in the 90s for renting games that Blockbuster had legally purchased. And saying, no, every single user of Nintendo has to buy their products specifically from Nintendo. And the Justice Department said, no, F off. Blockbuster can do with their property what they want to do with their property. They're allowed to rent out games and have thousands of different people play these games over their lifetime. And there's nothing stopping anyone from watching a broadcast of a Mario game. It's the same law. It's the same standard. And that's a legal standard.
Question. This I don't know. Who's the one actually blocking or taking down the videos? Is it Nintendo or is it the streaming service? So let's go with YouTube.
Nintendo is making a DMCA claim for
YouTube
for unauthorized use of their IP. YouTube is responding to that DMCA claim by taking down the video as they are legally required to do.
Well, so then YouTube is, by their standards, agreeing.
Nope.
So
no, and that's a hard legal definition. YouTube, if they receive a DMCA, they have a legal obligation to take down the offending content, because if they don't take down the content, they are liable for the content that is posted. So if it does eventually become determined that it was violating copyright and YouTube said, we're going to leave this content up, they are essentially saying, we are okay with this content violating your copyright.
Well, but like your argument is that Nintendo or other video game systems, they don't have a right to say that this is copywritten because it is.
But the way the DMCA is written is if YouTube has. Let's go back to the very beginning. Nintendo, to make a DMCA claim, they have to make what's called a good faith claim, saying, if this were go to a jury, we in good faith believe this stream violates our copyright. That's the definition of that law. We are making a good faith claim that this content uses our IP and violates copyright and would be found to violate copyright if it went to court. YouTube receives that claim, and because it's supposed to be a good faith claim, YouTube is legally required to say, I have to take this down. If they do not take it, if they do not respond to that DMCA, if they do not remove the offending content, YouTube is then the liable party for hosting that content, not the content creator. So YouTube, by taking down the content, is stepping back and saying, you two figure this out. And that's the legal precedent. You, as the content creator, can then make a counterclaim and say, no, I do have rights to this content. It is my content. It's under fair use. It's under this or that. The thing is, you don't automatically have fair use. Fair use is something that has to be proven in a court. You are violating copyright until you are not the other way around. So it gets very mucky. If you make a counterclaim, you then may have to go to arbitration. You may have to go to court. You may have to fight a long legal battle with YouTube. And you know what, or with Nintendo, and you know what YouTube's going to say in the meantime? I'm not involved in this. Because if they get involved, they're now liable.
Yeah.
Or Twitch, or whoever other video service that you use. Yeah. But no, that's how DMCA works.
Okay. Yeah, and then no one has really, most of these streamers don't have the actual money to fight the big corporations of Nintendo and everything else like that. That's why nothing like this ever gets challenged, and therefore there's no actual precedent, or not even precedent, because it'd be a civil suit after that point.
Correct.
So it's just, hey, what's going on? But this is also the case that we were talking about with a Nintendo kind of being jerks a lot of the times with certain things.
Yep.
There are other companies that do the exact same thing too. Again, we're just, exactly. We're just talking. Okay.
Sorry, I choked there for a second.
Yeah, no, the cocktail, it can sometimes, when you have the pineapple and all that citrus, it can build up in your throat. And so you have to take another drink.
And when you cough, it sounds a lot like Bethesda, but that's totally not what I said.
It's not. No, it's the phlegm. There's that cough sickness that's going around. I think it's called the Bethesda cough.
Yeah. Novella Hub says, if you're talking Nintendo, will the stream be taken down now? I had a Talking Heads video issue a copyright strike on my channel a month ago because John and I were talking about the abysmal launch of Fallout 76 back in 2018.
I saw that. I was like, what? Well, that was such a ridiculous claim.
I fought it. I won. The strike got removed. I reached out to Bethesda for comment, and Bethesda did confirm that it was a third-party agency which they had hired to find inflammatory content or copyrightable content, not inflammatory, copyrightable content, and make those claims. They entered a Google search and found my thing, and it said Fallout hacks was part of the thing, which, by the way, hacking is not a crime, and talking about hacking is not a crime, but that's why they claimed my video, even though in the video I didn't share a single image.
Because all they did was use a scraper and took the title and said, demonetize all these channels and all these videos.
Which means third party. Bethesda, or whatever third party they used, did not make a good faith claim. Bethesda is technically in contempt of court by making a bad faith claim on my video.
So then couldn't you go back and start making claims or put comments, links in that video? That would be then going after the fact. Anyways.
Mr. Slack wants to know for $2. Thank you, Rich. Very much appreciated. I want to play Wind Waker on my Steam Deck. Is that legal? If you own a copy of Wind Waker, yes. Entirely legal. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Yes, entirely legal. Media shifting, media transference, time transference. This is all, or time shifting. This is all pretty well established in copyright law, dating back to, Rich, an area that you might be familiar with, VHS and Betamax, when they first hit consumer shelves and people could record TV shows and then play them back later. No, that was a live broadcast that can never be seen again. Sorry, I recorded it, and because I paid for a subscription to my cable service in which it was provided, or just broadcast over the air for anyone to watch, I'm legally allowed to record that and watch it for my own personal use at a later date. The same thing applies to your software license, which is your disc of Wind Waker. If you own Wind Waker, technically you would need to rip that ROM yourself. Although there are stipulations for if that is not financially or monetarily plausible, or, would cause you great expense to rip the game, you could acquire it through other means, so long as you're not using two licenses simultaneously. Yes, it is totally legal for you to play your copy of Wind Waker on your Steam Deck. As I understand it, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice.
Nope.
By the way, I've known Rich for a very long time, so the old joke was very much an inside dig. Great to see you, buddy. What else do we have? Oregon passes
yes.
the most expansive and strict and scrupulous right to repair act in the nation. Defying tech industry concerns. And what I say is screw tech industry concerns, you bunch of money-grubbing SOBs. Oregon legislature became the fourth state to pass a bill giving consumers the legal right to fix their own home electronics on Monday, with legislation that requires manufacturers to provide access to tools, parts, and manuals required to repair their gadgets. However, the Oregon law went a little bit further. The bill requires consumer electronics manufacturers to make parts, tools, repair manuals available to consumers and third-party repair shops on fair and reasonable terms. You have to provide these, and it has to be accessible. You can charge for them, but it can't be exorbitant. And exorbitant is going to be determined by the court, but don't push us that far, is kind of the reading between the lines there. A prohibition on tech companies blocking third-party components that are otherwise a functional replacement for manufactured parts. Manufacturers also may not inhibit devices' performance if consumers install third-party parts or send misleading alerts and warnings. Hey, you have someone else's screen on this iPhone. Did you know that they could steal your passwords and fake your identity and sleep with your wife? And this battery will explode and take out a city block in the next 10 seconds. By the way, Apple did tell me that at one point.
Yes, no, I've heard stories of like the battery is not compatible with this. It's not safe. You may endanger other people.
Yep.
or may
An
cause harm. Or
A Genius
whatever.
Bar representative literally told me that my third-party iPhone battery would level a city block.
Yeah, I remember that story. It's like
I cannot
I
take the lives of the people in the store and everyone around here into my hands because I said,
well, he is a genius, technically.
right.
His title was genius.
Yes. Prohibition on tech companies blocking third-party components that are otherwise functional replacements. That means batteries, screens, buttons, components, anything that constitutes a functional device. You cannot block a third-party device. That also means software pairing or device pairing. You cannot link a Touch ID sensor permanently to an iPhone and then forbid its replacement. You have to make that Touch ID sensor available to replace through consumer means at reasonably affordable prices. You have to do that now. This bill will retroactively apply to any consumer electronics equipment manufactured since July 1st, 2015, or cell phones manufactured after July 1st, 2021. So we're going back at least 3 generations of iPhones. We're going back to consumer electronics, laptops, Surface Books, all kinds of things, dating back to 2015 original manufacture date. Obviously, Apple's not thrilled.
Basically means either Apple doesn't sell in Oregon or they have to comply.
An Apple representative stated an iPhone contains its owner's important personal data, including financial, health, and location information, and this bill introduces the possibility that Apple would be required to allow unknown, non-secure third-party Face ID or Touch ID modules to unlock that personal information. Yeah, it does. Because you know what? Consumers have the right to be able to repair their own devices.
That doesn't mean that Apple's liable for that stuff.
Nope.
If that came out, and then they sued Apple, Apple then would have the right to look at that device and say, "Hey, third-party hardware,
not our Touch ID. That's why you got hacked.
Not ours." Yeah.
The likelihood, though, that it's a pretty niche scenario where someone would install a Touch ID. Because all the Touch ID is sends a 0 or a 1 to the iPhone processor that says this user is authenticated. And still requires more than physical access to the phone. Requires taking apart the phone and replacing components. I don't know about you, but that's some pretty niche CSI level bull crap that Apple is trying to pull over your face. Not that security is something that I take lightly. And it is something that I very much appreciate Apple for. Phones are encrypted by default. Your data on an iPhone is encrypted by default. I cannot stress how cool that is. Now that encryption is based on Face ID and Touch ID modules that do go through Apple's own proprietary parts. The thing is, the encryption happens separately to the iPhone processor. And there's no reason in the world that a Touch ID module should be linked to an individual processor. There's absolutely no reason for it other than we don't want a user to be able to replace it if it breaks. That's the only viable reason. Because you would still have to relink the handshake. You would still have to trust the device. And there should be some mechanism that says, hey, I've replaced the Touch ID sensor. And here's the deal. Here's really what it boils down to. Apple's saying it would be a risk to consumer information if Touch ID or Face ID could be compromised by replacing a module. If a phone is powered down, those modules don't work anyway.
Yep.
You have to enter your password first. Those modules are bypasses for your physical PIN. And that's all they are. And they only stay active for 24 hours anyway. And if you turn the device off, those modules cease to function until you re-enter your PIN to unlock the encryption anyway. So there is no risk. There is zero risk to to consumers' information by allowing someone to replace these modules. And I'm tired of pretending it does.
Yeah.
And apparently so is the rest of my state. Thank you, Oregon.
No, this is nice. I like this is good. Throughout the whole entire time of this channel, right to repair has been one thing we've all agreed on and fought hard for and said it's a good thing. And yeah, it's just stupid that these big companies are expecting this. And again, it seems to be only a few companies that are doing this, and it's just all out ridiculous. And then the fact that they're also charging consumers more and more and more for these stupid products. Someone in chat, who was it? It seems to be that who is it? Old Pio was saying, like, yeah, the cheaper the phone, the easier it is to repair, and the most they don't care. It seems to be that they only actually care because the phone is really expensive, and then they want you to buy the next generation instead of keeping it around. I'm assuming you're seeing the super chat.
So we do have a couple super chats. Captain Beard Simpsons over $10. Thank you very much, sir. An IT guy at work asked me to recreate what I told him was a random issue with my internet connection dropping, but still being connected to the VPN. I thought you all would find that amusing. What section of your internet connection was dropping? Was it actually dropping? Because that could be a number of different things where a VPN connection would stay active and you would lose internet. Could be DNS, could be a whole bunch of host of different issues. Rich sends over another $2.
DNS.
Rich sends over another $2 and says, call the pineapple drink the Pineapple X58. Not my age yet. If I were to name this for you, I think I'd call it Pineapple Rambus.
Ah, that's the joke you were laughing at.
That's the joke I was laughing at, yes.
That's an internal thing that none of us get to know.
I would call it the Pineapple Rambus.
Yeah, it's not DNS. Trust me, it's DNS.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with the network. Yeah, it's DNS.
Like Rambus, these are best enjoyed in pairs. 100% DNS, yeah. Yeah, your VPN connection is going to be TCP. If you're losing internet, quote unquote, it's probably DNS. Especially if your connection to your TCP VPN is staying alive. Here at work, it's not the firewall, but it's always the firewall. It's never the firewall. It's usually the firewall blocking DNS.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, it's a little past 8. Do you want to skim through a lot? Do you want to just take questions? Do you want to just keep talking?
We could probably take a couple of questions. We covered a lot of pretty diverse topics tonight.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind some questions in the chat, just some random stuff. Anyone in the chat? We got questions. What are you drinking? What are you doing? What are your thoughts? How's your day going? Yeah, just let us know. We got 10-15 minutes here, right? Something like that. I think we could do that. If not, if you don't start saying stuff, we might start talking Star Trek. We really will. We could. I mean, we don't have to, but we could.
Yep. Also missed a super chat from Denver. Mogson Moss Warranty Act and Repair Clarification 2024 cannot block third-party parts and services. I hope that comes before too long. Oh, got any mail to open, Novella Hub? Yes. Yes, I do.
Oh.
Hold on. It's right behind me. I set it behind me so I wouldn't forget, and I still friggin' forgot. From some dude named John J. Well, you know him as John Jay, but his friends know him as John Jay. So
Says don't shake it too much. Just stab it.
all right. And I'm in. Hacker voice.
There you go. In lieu of your cocktail, I will have a little Highland to finish my night.
And you're gonna have a little dram to finish you off?
Yep.
I already recognize a couple bottles. Not gonna lie. So he did inform me that this box has an average ABV, and I believe it was 14.7.
Oh my gosh.
I believe it was 14.7. And we just about lost one.
Ooh,
I caught it. It didn't blow up. It fell off my desk and landed on its side. And it's okay.
Oh, that
I might
looks
need
like
to
the
drink this
Guinness.
one first, though.
That's the Guinness, isn't it?
Guinness Old Fashioned Inspired Ale.
Do that one.
Yes. Ale aged in Kentucky bourbon barrels with orange and cherries. 10.8%. John?
I know that one. Fuck you. I mean, sorry. Bad you. Sorry. You know what I mean.
This one's the Wake Up Worldwide Stout from Dogfish Head.
I almost bought the regular.
Yeah.
All right.
Ingredients: barley, malted barley, organic Nicaraguan Finca Terresho cold press coffee, oat milk solids, and hops, cinnamon and dextrose, and organic maple syrup.
What is oak milk solids?
Oat milk solids.
I don't even want to know what that is.
Got another one?
It's another one. Is it the Utopus?
No, it's even better.
Okay. Oh wait, what? How's that? Oh wait, what is that?
A very dark beer with a ridiculous amount of barley.
Oh, there it is. I have my screen very minimized, so I didn't see it. Oh my god.
I've had one of these before, John. I'm going to share this one with you.
All right, that one you share.
This one needs sharing.
I thought of a kind of a cool video, and I would love to have all of the hosts be in it. We all have to bring our favorite strong beer. Oh, two. John Jay is privately messaging me right now saying half of these are for me. I won't share you those messages, but
he did say I had duplicates, and it would be nice if I shared, but not all of them are duplicates. So I have a direct line to John Jay that counters your.
Oh no! I was joking, but I do have a message. I did send beers for you through Jeff. Hopefully he shared. I had that in the Discord. It's in the Discord. I got proof. So some of those are for me.
Rye Way to Heaven.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
So have I.
Yeah, Revelation. Yeah,
yes.
I've heard of that one.
15%. Rye ale aged in rye bourbon barrels.
Yes.
I have heard of this one. I did not expect that one. Holy crap.
That's a good one. I think. Oh, where's my
Two more. Another Revelation. This one I might need to share with Steve. Another Revelation Brewing. Straight Jacket. Barley wine aged in bourbon barrels. 15%.
Yeah, I've seen that one before too.
Yep.
So yeah. No, I would love to see. I thought of a video of like everyone from Talking Heads brings in the what they consider their best beer, and we have to blindly taste it. And then
I like
see
that
who brought
idea.
it.
I like
And
that
then
idea.
and we have to guess who brought it.
Oh my god. Well, I can see why the average went up.
Oh, it's like 21%.
Trinity's Belgian strawberry.
What is Is that a Christmas Belgian strawberry ale?
It's not necessarily Christmas flavored, but it comes out around Christmas time. It is a Belgian strawberry ale. I don't think they list the ABV on this can, and probably for some pretty good reasons, especially in the state of Oregon.
What? I actually got a 21% beer. Hang on, what? I want to look it up. What was it called again?
Trinity Brewing, Belgian strawberry. I believe this is a 19%er. It's up there. Trinity from Colorado Springs? No, this is Trinity Brewing from Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island.
Oh, so it's not Trinity Brew House.
No, it's not Trinity Brew House. It's Trinity Brewing.
Trinity Brew. Okay, that there. Strawberry. Interesting. I don't see it.
It is usually draft only.
Ah, okay. That could be it. Oh, okay, hang on. There's Trinity Brewing. They only have like 300 beers, so it's
right.
Fine. Belgian. I'm seeing a lot of high ABVs of that, so yeah. To find the exact one.
There's a 12.5. There's a 17. There's a whole bunch.
Exactly. Yeah. So I saw himself.
Yep. That's a good box. That's a really good box. So yes, John, I do have at least a Guinness for you, and
thank you.
And there's potentially some other beers that we need to get together and drink, because I'm gonna die if I drink them by myself.
I know we do need to make either I need to make a trip down there, or you need to make a trip up here, or we need a collab, another one, a day of drinking, which is actually more of a day of filming.
Yes,
there's like 5 videos. Each video progressively gets worse and worse and worse. That would be hilarious. So welcome to the, what are we at? Video 5? Bring out the beer. Where's my scotch?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where is my scotch? Oh, look, there it is.
There. I got the same. Mine's a little bit older.
Yes.
But it's the same.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
Now, I just finished up a couple of different bottles. So I had a Sexton Irish single malt, which is a fantastic bottle. In fact, that bottle was on sale at my local store too. It was $25 for an Irish single malt. It was like, holy crap, it's such a good bottle. And what else did I finish up? So I finished up that one. Revelation Rye. I think I've got like a finger left in that bottle. And then there's a couple other. Oh, my Johnny Walker High Rye. I've got like 2 fingers left in that bottle. So I was like, I need some new scotch. I need another bottle. Oh, look, Highland Park. Yes. So that's what led me there.
I got Stickman Brewings. So this is interesting. 9-year aged.
Yeah.
A local Oregon 9-year aged, 100 proof, and then an additional 8 months aged in sherry casks.
It was sherry casks, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that sherry extremely shines through at the very beginning. Very, very sweet forward. But a gin. Have you ever had the Wild Roots gin?
Either way.
Oh, okay. So, but if you're looking for, if you're in the Pacific Northwest and you like gins and the sweeter gins, I highly recommend the Wild Roots gin.
Ooh, I've heard of that one, but I've not bought a bottle yet.
This is about $22 a bottle. It's 7-Up gin. That's basically what it tastes like. See this? Not mix. That was drank straight.
Yeah.
Just straight because it was really that. Even Steve came by, had some. Oh, and the last one, a rye vodka.
Ooh.
So all rye Polish vodka.
Oh.
Steve had this and said it was the best vodka he's ever had.
Screw it. We need to do a video this month, John. I need to come over. I've got to. We still have to do that old Astoria. I've still got it. So John gave me a bottle so we could do a cocktail video comparison.
3 years ago? 4 years ago?
It was in late 2019 that you gave me that bottle because
5 years ago. Wow.
Because then COVID hit.
Yeah,
and it's been in my fridge ever since. I still have it. It's well aged.
That would be a great beer to so and aging different styles of beer. I have a Dogfish 120 from 2018, but it was crowler. So a crowler.
Oh, interesting.
Fresh off the draft of Dogfish 120.
Mm-hmm.
32 ounces of, what is that, 18%?
Yeah.
I wonder what that tastes like now. And then on top of that, I also need people over so I can open these $100 bottles of barley wine I have.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to drink it myself.
Novella wants to know, can Jeff outdrink the Shubins?
Are you combining the both of us? And that also comes down to, what are we drinking?
What are we drinking?
Liquor and beer hits you different. All liquors hit you different.
I will say, John and Steve will outdrink me when it comes to beer. I will outdrink you guys when it comes to liquor and spirits.
I could go for that. I could agree for that. Yeah, I have no problem with that statement. Zero problem with that statement. Yeah.
Yep. Ooh. Old Poi. I think we'll finish with this one. We got a question from Old Poi. Craft Computing. There is a beer I can get called Delirium Belgium. If you can get that in the States, try it. We're well aware of that beer.
Oh, we're very well.
Yeah. Well, the clay bottles. Oh yes.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh no. I actually even had when I first did the first beer diet, Delirium reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want to buy you a beer just to put on your beer diet." So we are very well aware of them.
We like beer.
Delirium. I love them.
Here. Yes.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yes.
Recently came out in cans too.
Yeah.
For the price point of the clay bottles.
There's no beating the clay bottles though. Those are so.
No, you have to buy it. It's almost like buying Coke in a glass.
Yeah.
It just tastes different. It
really does
taste different. And that you've got to buy Delirium in the clay bottles. You buy it in a can, it's like, no, that's not the same thing.
Unless you get it in the pony keg and you call it 19.9 in your tap room.
That man, I really hate going through Facebook memories right now.
I know.
Because
a couple of them hit me too.
Like 8 years, that was 8 years ago, 9 years ago. Oh,
yeah.
It's gonna be 10 years soon.
Yep.
Bar VR is gonna be 10 years old soon.
Oh God.
And it's just like,
you're right, 3 years. It'll be 10 years.
Yeah.
It's 7 right now.
Like, I know, it's just like God. Yeah. It was
7 years ago today we were racing on my sim.
Yep, that came up. And I know I had the other day of pictures of me redoing my basement and the bar top and painting the walls, and it was just like,
Yeah.
man, this hurt. That felt like not that long ago, but it really was that long ago.
Hey, John, if I gave you 3 years, could we
I don't even know. I don't know.
Could we open one?
I don't know. I really don't know.
If I said in the next 3 years, like that's our goal, we're gonna both go full time. We're gonna open a tap house.
If we did that and we thought about it, we went for it, and if we actually pursued it, we probably could. We honestly probably could. We could probably make that the best tap house in Oregon as far as entertainment, quality, selection, all of that stuff. You know, front house management. We probably
Guarantee
could.
we could.
But that's a lot of sweat and tears and gamble on a pretty sweet deal of what we both already have. But
Yeah.
yes, I do believe we could dominate. And that is not just the bro talk of us stating, dude, we could open up a tap house and blah blah.
No.
You know, no. We
There are locations available.
Yeah, and we've already proven my knowledge, your knowledge of the two combining would be phenomenal.
Unstoppable, right?
It's already been a proven fact, and other taproom and brewery owners here in the Pacific Northwest, very large brewery owners too, have stated we were amazing, the best.
Yeah,
they really did. They just said your location not the greatest.
Right.
You guys, your thoughts, your theories, better than everyone else. That's what they stated.
Yep.
It was just a location. That's all it came down to. So, yeah.
Food for thought, John.
Food for thought. Jeff, I think about it all the time. Let's end it there.
Let's talk about it out loud a little more. This has been episode 324 of Talking Heads. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. If you like the beer content or even the cocktail content on this channel, subscribe to Hops and Brews. Equally great content, goes through everything there is to know about beer.
Yep.
And we know a lot.
We do know a lot. We're gonna come tomorrow. There's gonna be pick your Guinness video is coming out tomorrow.
Ooh.
What's the Guinness that you need for the coming up days? I don't specifically. I do kind of reference that one, but the standard Guinnesses.
Yes. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. And as always, we'll see you next week.
See you guys. Join the Discord. Minimum $1 a month. It's amazing.
Patreon, Discord, links in the description.
Get it.
Ciao, everyone.